First things first, welcome everyone to the Backstage Community Session, the December edition. This is the last one for this year. Next time we'll meet will be 24th of January in the new year. And before we dive in, I'm just going to introduce quickly myself. My name is Mihai. I'm an engineering manager in Backstage, and I'm based in London. And I'm going to be your host today. And before we kick this off with the agenda and all the other things, I did want to start by acknowledging something important. We've seen a lot of love and support from the community in the past few weeks in the light of the recent events that happened at Spotify. So before anything else, I just wanted to say thank you all for that. It means a lot. 1 second, meeting one more person there. Your support and love there means a lot to us. I want to reiterate that we are continuing to invest in the strategic areas that we see important and mission critical to Spotify, and Backstage is one of those areas. We remain focused on our journey to grow Backstage, and in 2024, we will continue working on the evolution of the core platform alongside the community, but also investing in the foundational needs, like removing the barriers of adoption and growing our commercial offerings. So again, thank you all so much for all the thoughts and support we've seen from the community in the past few weeks. That said, let's see how the agenda looks like for today. We're going to have a quick update on the release that we just shipped yesterday. That's going to be covered by Ben. Then Patrick's going to give us a quick update on the declarative integration, which is basically the new front-end system that we're shipping. And then last but not least, Vincenzo will cover some catalog improvements. And then at the end, we'll touch base on the Q&A. That said, Ben, happy to give you the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mihai. Yes, so as Mihai mentioned, we shipped 121 yesterday. Super busy month. There's a lot of stuff in it. A lot of highlights to cover. The first two, the front-end system alpha and the catalog pagination, is going to be talked about by Patrick and Vincenzo, so I'm going to kind of skip over those two. But we've also deprecated React Router beta, so I can't even remember when we added support for this, but it's a good few months, 6 months ago maybe. We've not immediately removed support for it, it's just been deprecated. The upgrade path is kind of simple also, it's just updating to the latest stable versions of React Router. There's some guides as well in the release notes if you need some help there. PostgreSQL versioning policy, yes, massive shout out to Andre for this. We've been wanting to do something like this for a while. Basically setting a policy for what versions of Postgres we support. TLDR is the last 5 major versions, I think. So now we've got all things set up to test for those versions in our CI. There's some new auth providers as well for Atlassian and VMware Cloud, and there's Azure DevOps multi-org support for the catalog too. Yes, I think that is kind of my swift update. There's been some questions around whether we're going to do releases over Christmas. I think we are. We're just going to click the button and click the button and merge the PR to do the releases over the next few weeks. I expect them to be kind of a little bit smaller than what we've had for the last few months, at least over the Christmas holidays. But yeah, good holidays, happy holidays to everybody. Thanks to all the community for helping us get this across the line too. Yeah, that's my quick whistle-stop tour of the update, the release. I will pass over to Patrick now, I think. Is it Patrick? Yes, or did I get the order wrong? Yeah, I did. Cool.
Yep, and yes, you can hear me. Cool. So as Ben mentioned, we released the front-end system alpha. This is essentially the declarative integration system that we've been working on. It's also the path towards dynamic installation of plugins. The declarative integration being installation of plugins without having to modify code, and dynamic installation being installation of plugins in a running instance of Backstage. So working towards both of those two things. Now, what we released here in this alpha, it's a complete system. So you can kind of use it to build a whole Backstage app, but please don't still. We're releasing this for feedback, and it's a more stable point of the system, but it is not ready for prime time and use in your own Backstage installations just yet. But if you want to try it out in plugins, play around with it, please go ahead. Any feedback in the declarative integration channel on Discord, or of course in GitHub issues. Now, what is this alpha? It really means we're leaving this experimental phase that we've been in for this new system since we started building it in the summer. You know, we've just been kind of shipping breaking changes without considering anything too much. Now we're going to start, you know, properly highlighting breaking changes and start treating it more as a system that other people might be using as we make changes to it. We also have documentation available. It's still work in progress, but we have the kind of the big most important bits there. I think almost all of the architecture documentation is fleshed out soon. We're on our way to get the kind of documentation for building plugins and apps as well over the next few weeks. And of course, if you want to know more about this system overall, how it works, what it does, I'm not going to go into details here. I encourage you to go read the documentation or check out the talk we did at KubeCon NA earlier this year. And yeah, with that, on to Vincenzo.
Thank you, Patrick. Hi, everyone. If you haven't met, my name is Vincenzo. I'm an engineer and I work at Spotify on Backstage. We just want to share some improvements that we have shipped yesterday in our latest Backstage release. These catalog improvements are very beneficial for adopters who have like a very big catalog. So adopters who have like ingested like thousands of entities, like from like 5,000 entities or up. And why did we start that? If we go to the next slide. So 2 years ago, we started seeing some movement in issues. So people started having some issues with the catalog. As I said, people who have like 5,000 entities, more than 5,000 entities, but also people with adopters who had like around 1,000, 2,000 entities. So what the issue they were having was that their catalog index page, so the page where you see all the entities, was very slow. And internally, we also had this issue. So we start to brainstorm a way to solve this. And exactly 2 years ago, we made a POC to try to find a way to fix this. And we opened an issue. Next slide. With this issue, basically, we set a path how to kind of fix this this problem. And this required some work in the front end and backend. So a lot of components in the front end need to be restructured in order to fix that. And we, after like quite some time, almost 2 years, we made it. So the first version of this catalog pagination is available in Backstage open source since yesterday. And yeah, what it does, it basically it makes your catalog more efficient. So if you go on the next slide, there is a video showing how enable pagination, or how your Backstage will look if you enable pagination. So you will have this arrow for navigating back and forth at the top and the bottom, where basically you will navigate through your entities, next batch or the previous batch of entities. And as you press the next button, next or previous button, the catalog will fetch the next batch. So it will make your catalog more faster. How to enable this? Next slide. As I said, this is not available. I mean, it's available, but it's not enabled. So if you want to enable, you need to tweak this this flag in your app.tsx. So there is this paginated prop that you need to pass to the catalog in this page. And once you do that, these pagination capabilities will be enabled. If you have a custom catalog in the page, you need to remember to pass this paginated flag to the entity list provided that is inside your catalog index page. But if you have issues, just reach out to us and we're happy to look into it. What else? Next slide. I want just to mention that this capability, pagination capability, is powered by a new endpoint that is available in Backstage, and we are releasing some documentation about this new endpoint. It's called entity/byquery. And this endpoint is a more efficient endpoint than the /entities that was used before for retrieving the entities. So you could use this in your app if you want, or in your plugin if you have this need of retrieving data, entities from the catalog. You could use this already. And what's the beneficial why is better than the previous one. So this is going to be more efficient if you like want to fetch your entities in batches, as this use cursor-based pagination. So once you scroll through the page, the complexity for retrieving each page is going to be constant. So while in the previous endpoint, it's going to be slower once you start paginating forward. And also the previous endpoint had the downside that it will load all the entities in the backend. So that means that once you invoke this endpoint, your backend will receive a spike in memory, which now is resolved. So we recommend you to migrate to this endpoint in case you need to retrieve your entities in batches. But in case you want to retrieve the entire catalog, then it's fine to use the current endpoint. So that's it. So the feature is released, but it's not yet done. There are a few tweaks that we need to deliver. And if you go to the next slide, these are basically the upcoming features that will work from hopefully the next release. So free text search is not yet available with this pagination mode. So we want to deliver this backend search, free text search, together with this custom sorting done on the backend side. But if you follow this issue, this 12.247, you can track the work that we are going to do toward this the pagination goal. So that's it. We encourage you to use this, especially if you have a big catalog. And yeah, let us know if you find the issues. We are happy to look into it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ben, Patrick, and Vincenzo. And I think with that, we kind of like covered the content that we had originally planned. I think it's time to open for Q&A on any of the given topics. So if you have any questions, please either, I don't know if it's a raise of hand or I always confuse the platforms, or just drop a question in the Q&A chat. I'll just wait for maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, just in case someone's typing. And if we have no other Q&A, I'm happy to wrap earlier. All right. I see no open questions in the Q&A. I see no questions in the chat. Also happy to wrap this a little bit earlier and give everyone some time back. Thank you so much for attending this December community session. I think the next one is on the 24th of January. Thank you all again for all the support that we've received, both in the last few weeks with everything going around, and also for the things that went in delivering yesterday's release, for all the contributions. And have a wonderful, happy holiday season for everyone. Thank you.